You are entitled to compensation for your injuries, medical bills, lost wages, and personal loss. Mr. Farnsworth will go to trial if you are not offered the fair settlement that you deserve. The law offices of Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, has established itself as one of the leading personal injury law firms in the South Florida area. They give all their personal injury clients a promise. If they don't recover monetary damages in your case, you will not pay any attorney's fees. Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, offers a free consultation to evaluate your legal case. If they take your case, they only get paid if they win. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle crash, slip and fall, workplace accident, or through the negligence of someone else, you need attorney Shane Farnsworth fighting on your side. Call now for a free consultation. That's 561-272-8337. You are listening to the Ask the Expert Show with host Steve-O. We will be right back with more experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Join us every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Now, get ready for more Ask the Experts.
I love our producer here because he's the only one that turns the light on when you're live. You don't have to guess or anything. Plus, he's really good at what he does. Hey, we're welcome back. We have a show now on 7:40 a.m. that comes on from 3 to 4. That's our sister station here. It's another Ask the Experts. So if you're in your car between 3 and 4, tune to 7:40 a.m. Today is our personal injury day. We've done auto accidents. We've done all kinds of injuries. Today, we're going to do truck accidents. And I'm going to tell you something. I have seen some of the worst truck accidents on 95, but not on 95. The bridge is going over 95. Let's welcome our expert, Shane Farnsworth, personal injury attorney here in Delray Beach, Florida. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Steve. Nice to be here.
I love when you come on because, this subject, everybody understands auto accidents. And what we try to do on this show is there are tons and tons and tons of personal injury attorneys. You see them on buses. You see them everywhere. But with this show, what we try to do is show you the best of the best so you don't have to Google somebody or try to remember something you saw on a bus. Shane is really good at what he does, and you're going to get to hear about it today. Tell everybody, because, I get emails now all the time that we just found your show, we're listening to the show, and so not everybody knows who you are and your background. So tell people about your practice.
Sure. My name is Shane Farnsworth, and my practice is in downtown Delray Beach. If you know where the IPIC Theater is, I'm across from the IPIC Theater. I've been practicing for 20 years. The primary focus of my practice is personal injury. We're a small firm, but the advantage of that is our clients get personal attention, and we're there for you every step of the way.
You know what? You just said small firm. That is not a negative. That is a positive that you're a small firm, because I have heard some of the craziest stories about these big firms you see on TV, the ones that do all the advertising. And I actually spoke to someone, and she said, I felt like a number. I didn't feel that personal touch like you do, like you are hands-on with your practice. You're right there.
Yeah, sometimes with bigger firms, they have a lot of volume, and you do become a number. A lot of times,
said she felt like it was at a factory.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll never actually meet the attorney. You're always dealing with support staff. My firm, we're more of a boutique firm. It's myself. I have an assistant and another paralegal. If you come to my firm, you're going to meet with me. I'm available to speak to, and I'll be part of the process.
And you know what is really important is you only get paid if they get paid. So it's in your best interest to represent a client to the best of your ability. But if you don't get them any money, you don't get a dime.
Correct. We use a contingency fee contract in personal injury matters. And like you said, if we don't collect any money for you, it doesn't cost you anything. If we collect any money for you, we get a percentage of what we collect. So obviously that incentivizes us to want to get you as much as possible, because the more money you get, the more money we make as well.
Exactly. So You're in Delray, but you also handle cases all over Florida.
We handle cases throughout the state of Florida.
Tell me about a case.
I was just telling you about one in Kissimmee. But yeah, we do a fair amount of cases in Central Florida, up through Jacksonville. Sometimes we get stuff on the West Coast, up through the middle of Florida. Primarily, our practice is people from Palm Beach and Broward County, but we do stuff throughout the state.
Now, we say personal. A lot of people, we just take for granted everybody knows what personal injury is. We know what an auto accident is. We know what maybe slip and fall is. Tell everybody the different areas within personal injury that you cover.
Yeah, personal injury is sort of an umbrella term. It incorporates lots of things, any sort of automobile accident, slip and fall, motorcycle accidents, boating accidents, dog bites, trucking accidents like we're going to talk about today. But yeah, basically, those are all subcategories of the personal injury umbrella.
So here's the thing. Sometimes you might not think you have a case, but unless you call Shane, because you don't charge this for them to sit down, you don't know if you have a case unless they sit down and talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, our consultation is free, so if you come in, you're not going to have to pay for the consultation. We'll look at your situation, we'll evaluate it, and make a decision whether or not it's something we'd be able to help you with. I had somebody come in today. They were involved in an accident. Unfortunately, when I evaluated it, it wasn't something I was able to help them with, but I was able to give them some pointers regarding the medical care they were getting and how to pay those bills. So even though I wasn't able to help them in a personal injury aspect, they weren't charged for the consultation, and
Right.
they did get some positive information out of it.
Do people ask you a lot, what do you think their case is worth?
All the time. I always tell people, when you first
Everybody's
come in,
different, right?
yeah, every single case is different. If you're involved in an accident, someone who's 200 pounds in the exact same accident with somebody who's 110 pounds, their bodies may be thrown about the car differently. They may suffer different types of injuries. And, really what happens is, when you're injured, you go to the doctor, and when we start getting your medical records and seeing what's wrong with you, when you finish treating, we take a look at everything, and that's sort of how we start to figure out what we think the value of the case might be. But if you come in and you had your accident 2 days ago and you say, "What's my case worth?" I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be able to tell you that because I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly. So that's what I would think that's the biggest question. Everybody wants to know how much, but you're right. Every case is different.
They ask, "How much is my case worth?" and "How long does it take?" And that's also different in every instance. A lot of it depends on, in the state of Florida, in order to qualify for a personal injury action, you have to meet one of four thresholds. The four thresholds are death, scarring, loss of bodily function, and a permanent impairment determined by a medical doctor. The last one's the most common, and only your doctor can make that decision, and you have to continue treating and following their advice until they decide, okay, you've now reached maximum medical improvement, and at that point, when they give you an impairment rating, we can move forward. But depending on what your injuries are, that takes different amounts of time for different people.
So let's talk to, today's going to be kind of a commercial day because we're talking about trucks today.
Correct.
But you could rent a truck and be in an accident. Is that considered commercial if you're using it for private use?
Well, it could be.
Like a U-Haul truck or something like that.
I mean, if you run a U-Haul and you cause the accident, there's probably not much I could do for you.
Right.
But if you run into somebody else, U-Haul could be responsible. So, yeah.
People should take out the insurance or not.
That's really a personal decision. But, obviously, when we're speaking about commercial vehicles, I'm talking about, tractor trailers is the obvious one, but like delivery vehicles, a UPS truck, a FedEx truck, buses. There's obviously lots of buses here in
Never
South
thought of
Florida.
buses.
Also, you don't see it too much unless you get out west, but, agricultural equipment, but you'll see construction vehicles all the time, cement trucks going down the highway. Those are all commercial vehicles.
You ever had a case where something blew off the back of the truck
Yes.
and hit the car behind them?
Well, not necessarily that something blew off and hit the car behind them. I did have a case where it was a commercial vehicle, but it was a van. They improperly tied a ladder to the top of it, and they were going down 95. The ladder flew off 95, and at that time is a construction zone, so they had the barriers up, so there wasn't any actual lane you could pull off into. Well, that person stopped in the lane, the traffic lane of 95, to go retrieve their ladder. There was a tractor trailer that stopped behind them. Then another car, my client's car, there was another tractor trailer behind my client's car. They never hit the brakes, slammed into the back of them.
Wow.
So I haven't had anything like a rock or something fly off and it caused injury to my client, but that was a case where there was a commercial vehicle that was, improperly loaded. It wasn't a tractor trailer, it was a work van, but it was
Right.
still a commercial vehicle. We had a case against them as well as the truck behind our vehicle that rear-ended us.
What is the difference in a commercial truck and an automobile accident?
Well, generally, obviously, if you're driving a commercial vehicle, you're going to have to, the driver's going to have a commercial license, a CDL. The other thing, obviously, is in most instances when you're talking about large trucks or buses, the size discrepancy between those vehicles and a regular passenger vehicle is pretty large. I mean, they can be, 40,000 or 30 or 40 tons, and you're talking about
get hit by
cars or
them,
maybe 2 tons. Yeah, so if you get hit by those, the accidents tend to be a lot more serious, more severe. The injuries tend to be more severe, and a lot of times, unfortunately, also results in people losing their lives.
What do they have to have? Different type of insurance? Do they have to have more liability?
Generally
car does?
speaking, trucks they do carry higher limits of insurance. They're aware of the fact that, if you're driving a truck and you have a trailer behind you that's loaded, it takes a lot longer for that truck to stop than a regular car. Also, it's more difficult to handle that car or that truck in traffic. You have, the length of the vehicle, the size of the vehicle, the weight of the vehicle. All those are things that make a truck more dangerous, and for those reasons, most times trucks do carry, policies that are larger than you would find on a normal passenger vehicle.
There's nothing a person can do. If it's raining out and a truck goes by you, you ever seen the splash you get from that?
Yeah,
it blinds your whole windshield. Have you ever seen an accident from that? And can you sue the truck?
Possibly. Most of the time, the negligence will result from them running into you, or if they pull over into your lane and hit you, or like the one I was talking about where they rear end you, stuff like that. But yeah, trucks in general are relatively dangerous. I remember one summer I was playing baseball in a summer collegiate league up in Virginia, and I used to ride on 81, and the trucks getting on and off. I mean, the trucks it was just scary.
Yeah, but you've seen like when it's raining out and a truck goes by you. I mean, I remember I had my windshield wipers going, and I still couldn't see. Something about a truck that the water that you get back from it. And I'm like, God, and I have to slow down.
Well, what the scarier thing when it's raining, think about how on 95 sometimes people just stop. If that truck's coming down the road behind you and the water's on the road, it's going to take that truck a lot longer to be able to stop. And obviously, if you get hit by a truck, the damages are probably going to be pretty significant.
You see a lot of truck accidents down here?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, in the state of Florida, we have 2 major interstates, one on the East Coast, one on the West. We got 95 on the East Coast, 75 on the West Coast, and you got I-4 running through the corridor there in the middle. And there's, absolutely tons of traffic there. And, I was looking at some statistics, and nationally, about 12% of traffic fatalities are caused by large trucks. So by my calculation, that comes out to somewhere between 3,500 to 4,500 people a year that are killed in truck accidents. And in Florida...
Who's usually the person who gets killed? The driver or the person they hit?
More times than not. It depends on the type of accident. If the truck flips over, something like that, then it's obviously more dangerous for the driver. If they are behind you and they slam on their brakes and they crash into you and rear end you, you're going to be the one that's going to take the brunt of that. But Florida is one of the top 10 states for truck fatalities. So We do have a lot of commercial traffic here. I mean, you see it all the time.
Just go down 95.
Take 95.
What are
you'll see
most
it.
of the causes of truck crashes?
Well, there's lots of them. I mean, obviously there's driver fatigue. A lot of times truck drivers are driving for long periods of time. There's inattentiveness. There's improper training. Not improper supervision. But one of the things that is a major cause is driver distraction. Which is a problem with all drivers, not just trucks.
Right.
And that works out to about 6% of the fatalities caused by trucks. And of that, about 16% is related to cell phone use, which is a problem, like I said,
I was
for
going to
everybody,
say
not
that
just
because
truck
we
drivers.
Renee and I used to go to our morning show from Coral Springs to Miami, so we'd take 75. And I cannot tell you how many trucks now I saw that would veer over into the lane, and when you'd go by them, you'd see that cell phone, like they were texting or something.
Yeah,
How
it's
do
an
you
epidemic.
prove that, though, in court?
Well, one way you could do it is, if they cause an accident, when you're in litigation, you have discovery you can use. So you can send a subpoena. You could ask for their phone information, for the phone number and
Oh, that's right. Tells
and
you
the
what time.
carrier. And then what you would do is you would request the records from their carrier in a third-party subpoena. So that's how you would go about
Saw a
doing
lot of that. I mean, and cars too, but a lot of trucks. I was really surprised. For some reason in my mind, the truck driver is going to be a more careful driver, but maybe that's not necessarily the case. But the cell phone and the tweeting and all that stuff while you're driving, I definitely see that.
Well, the story I told you earlier, before we got on the air, I had a case where it was a small truck company out of Miami, and they had two trucks, and on the return trip, one of the drivers quit, and the owner of the company was coming behind him in another truck. He was a few hours back. He had a worker with him that was helping him load and unload his truck, who wasn't a licensed driver, and he gave him the keys to that auto transport truck to drive down 95. So, there's a lot of, there's times also, take a look at some of the dump trucks and the concrete trucks you'll see driving down 95. Some of those, they don't appear to be in the greatest shape to me. So,
Right.
yeah, so there's a lot of dangerous stuff. And then with buses, obviously, not so much on the highway that they're an issue, but locally, they're pulling off the road back onto the road after they pick up passengers and drop off passengers. So, there's all different places that you can encounter problems with commercial vehicles.
Who's usually responsible? The trucking company or the driver?
It's going to depend. If the driver is the employee of the trucking company, then you can certainly go after the trucking company. However, in most instances, the drivers are independent contractors. So if they're an independent contractor, you can go after them, but generally not the trucking company unless you can show that the trucking company was in some way negligent.
So if they're pulling another company's truck, that's not the company's fault. It's the driver's fault. Because you have people who own their own
You mean
truck.
if they're pulling someone else's trailer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if the operator owns the truck, he goes and he picks up a trailer from a trucking company. He's driving it. There sometimes there's multiple defendants in trucking accident cases. You can sue sometimes the driver. You can sue the owner of the trailer, the trucking company. And keep in mind, truck drivers are also regulated by federal regulations that don't apply to drivers of a regular car. So it's important that when your case is being evaluated, the person evaluating it is able to look and see were any of those regulations violated.
Give everybody your phone number at your office.
Sure. The phone number is 561-272-8337, and our website is farnsworthlaw.net.
We're going to go to break right now. We're here with Shane Farnsworth. He's a local attorney here, does personal injury law, does a unbelievable job. And when we come back, we're talking trucks today. We'll be right back.
As an experienced personal injury attorney, Shane Farnsworth understands the key to success in your case. You are entitled to compensation for your injuries, medical bills, lost wages, and personal loss. Mr. Farnsworth will go to trial if you are not offered the fair settlement that you deserve. The law offices of Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, has established itself as one of the leading personal injury law firms in the South Florida area. They give all their personal injury clients a promise. If they don't recover monetary damages in your case, you will not pay any attorney's fees. Shane M. Farnsworth, VA, offers a free consultation to evaluate your legal case. If they take your case, they only get paid if they win. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle crash, slip and fall, workplace accident, or through the negligence of someone else, you need attorney Shane Farnsworth fighting on your side. Call now for a free consultation. That's 561-272-8337.
And we're back here for our last half of our show. This is the Ask the Expert show. You can also catch us on 740 on Thursdays from 3 to 4. And then we have our show, our long-running show. We've been here for 5 years now, running from 5 to 6 today. We are doing personal injury. We're with attorney Shane Farnsworth. And because there's people getting in and out of their car, just tell everybody again just a little bit about your firm.
Yeah, we're a personal
You're in
injury firm.
Delray.
Yeah, we're located in Delray Beach, just off Atlantic Avenue, across from the IPIC Theater, if you know where that is. I've been practicing in this area for 20 years. Like we talked about earlier, we're a small firm.
That's all you do, too.
Yeah.
It's not like
Primarily,
you
yeah.
got some long shingle up. You do bankruptcy and family. You mainly
We do general civil litigation as part of our practice as well. Like we talked about before, that helps to keep you sharp and keep you in court. A lot of times, personal injury cases resolve
some
before
property damage
trial.
claims?
Yeah, we do. Oh, yeah, that's part of our practice. Absolutely. So,
were just
hurricane
talking
season.
about
Yeah, we're talking about hurricane
hurricanes.
season. Yeah, we do handle hurricane damage claims.
And you know what? We have done so many great shows, and they're not just audio, they're video, too. You can actually go to your website. You've got all the shows up. Give everybody your website.
Yeah, the website is farnsworthlaw.net. And, this show will be on there probably within a few days, but all the past shows are on there. And in addition to the Ask the Expert show, we also have a video facts tab that has videos with some common questions that people ask that can give you some good general information as well.
Great. So, what types of damages can you recover if you're injured in a crash with a large truck?
Well, you can recover for the injuries that you sustain. If you have lost wages, if you have lost, sometimes these are pretty debilitating accidents when you're involved with a tractor trailer. So if you're unable to work going forward, or you're going to have lost wages in the future, pain and suffering, future medical bills, the damages are basically fairly similar to what you can collect in a car accident. But like I was saying, a lot of times the injuries that you get in these are more severe, and a lot of times they're higher dollar value.
Is it changed? My Renee's son, her son was in an accident 3 years ago. He had some injuries. The insurance company was on the phone with him the next day trying to settle. Is that unusual? The next day?
That can certainly happen. I do see that. Now, with truck cases, it's not just my side of it that understands that these cases tend to be high dollar value. It's the insurance companies that have truckers as clients that know this as well. So when you're involved in an accident with a truck, it's not uncommon for that insurance company to have investigators out there
At
away.
the scene?
If they can get them there, they'll get them there. Sometimes, obviously that could be difficult, but they do train, and oftentimes they're truckers. They give them a camera. Sometimes they used to give them those disposable cameras. I guess now you can probably just use your phone, but they train them on how to take pictures of the scene and how to preserve evidence. But they'll get an investigator out there. They'll be talking to people because they know that the case potentially has high value, so they're going to defend it rigorously.
What percent of your cases with trucks go to court?
I would say it's
Since it is a higher volume.
Well, it's
does
a
it-
higher value, not
value.
volume. Yeah. I as far as volume, I generally do more car accidents than trucks, but
But for the value of it, is it more you're probably going to go to court?
yeah, I mean, they still a lot of times get resolved prior to trial, but they do get litigated more often than your run-of-the-mill car accident case because obviously, the injuries tend to be a lot worse than the damages more.
Okay. I've gone down Turnpike, I've gone down 95, and there are a lot of trucks on the road. And when I was going down 75 and traffic would be backed up, I have never seen so many trucks. I guess it is because of our location, agriculture, but there's a lot of trucks down here.
Well, keep in mind we have a lot of people who live in this state, so I mean it's fairly populated. We have a lot of goods, a lot of stuff that has to be transported. We also have keep in mind we have the ports. We have Fort Lauderdale, and stuff comes in there. A lot of times you'll see trucks that have the shipping containers that are on the back. Well,
That's right,
They pick
yes.
those up at the port. And you'll see those also on the freight trains as they go by. So
Right.
they get delivered to a central location, then trucks pick those up, and that's what you see going down the road when you see those shipping containers.
Tell our listeners why you need to have an attorney, especially in a truck accident.
Yeah, especially in a truck accident, insurance companies are in the business of collecting premiums, not paying claims. That's how they make their living. Especially in truck cases, they're going to fight it. They're going to be well prepared, and you don't want to be representing yourself and trying to figure out, and working in a landscape that you're not familiar with.
There's got to be something also about an attorney, contacting a company versus an individual.
Yeah, I certainly, I might be biased, but
No,
yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, I think common sense would tell you that having somebody who's practiced law, like in my case for 20 years, contacting an insurance company to say, hey, I represent Steve or whoever is going to have more of an impact than Steve calling and say, hey, I'm Steve and I was injured by your driver. So
That is so true because Steve did that one time, and until I hired an attorney, they were laughing at me. What a difference it made when I hired an attorney. I was in Denver, and it just, it's like I felt so foolish. Here I was thinking I could just handle it myself. Don't try. Please don't.
being represented by counsel has, two advantages to it. Number one, you have someone who understands the system and how it works, is trained in the law.
You know the value, too,
Yeah,
of an
yeah.
injury.
And number two, once you've retained counsel, the insurance company has to have all communications go through your attorney. They can't contact you directly because one of the things they'll do is they'll call you and act as though they're trying to help you when they're really not. And they'll say, hey, Steve, I'd like to take your statement. Is it okay if I record it? And you say, I got nothing to hide. Sure. And they're going to ask you questions that
Probably very good at it, too.
They're designed without you realizing to, help damage or damage your case or minimize the amount of money your case could be worth.
Wow. It's just amazing. And then how long should someone wait to hire an attorney?
I mean, my advice is to hire an attorney as soon as possible. Like I said, once you've done that, you've now put that buffer between yourself and the insurance company, and you've also shown the insurance company that you're serious about pursuing your claim.
I mean, I would just want to hire an attorney right away. You're not starting on a meter because unless you get them money, they're not going to get anything. So why not hire someone right away?
Correct. Like we spoke about earlier, the consultation is going to be free, and if you retain us, you're not going to pay us anything unless we recover money for you. It's not a case that gets billed on an hourly fee; it gets billed on a contingency fee contract. So the basics of that are: if we recover any money pre-suit, we get a third of what we collect. If we have to file and it's in
But you
litigation,
have to do a lot more.
in litigation,
for your
yes.
yes.
So in litigation, the fee goes up to 40%, but that's governed by the Florida bar. That's not the numbers I make up. So no matter whether you hired me or the guy on the bus or the billboard, those are the numbers. But yeah, if we don't collect anything, it doesn't cost you anything.
Right. Before we go, tell everybody why, if they're injured, they should hire you.
The reason you should hire me is because our firm, like we talked about, you're going to get personal attention. it's myself and 2 employees. So if you call, I have an assistant who's great at what she does. She handles all the pre-suit stuff. She can answer all your questions, but if she can't do it, you'll get to talk to me because I'm there every day, and I'm available to speak to you.
Give everybody your phone number
561-272-8337.
and your website.
The website is farnsworthlaw.net.
Attorney Shane Farnsworth is with us every month, and I am so glad that we have you because, man, accidents happen every day. You never know. And hopefully everybody writes your phone number down because you never know when you're going to need a good attorney. We will be back next week with more Ask the Experts, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks, Shane. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O. The opinions expressed on the preceding